ang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang iskap ng wataw at way tagumpay na nabibili. Ang bituin at araw niya kailan pag may maglilili. Lupa ng araw ng ating pasinga, huwag langit sa piling mo. Ang nilaya na pagkay ng haakit, ang magkay ng dahil sa'yo.
Il Signore mi rende uno strumento della vostra pace.
Lord, make me an instrument of your peace.
Dove c'è Dio, lasciarlo seminare l'amore.
Where there is hatred, let me sow love.
Dove c'è ferita,
There is injury,
perdono. Dove c'è dubbio,
where there is doubt,
dove c'è disperazione, e sperare, dove c'è resa, illuminarsi, dove c'è la tristezza, gioia, oh divine master, grant that I may not so much seek
to be consoled as to console.
to be understood as to understand,
To be loved as to
love, for it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned.
It is in dying that we are born again.
It is in dying that we are born again.
It is in dying that we are born again to eternal
Il Signore mi rende uno strumento della vostra pace.
Lord, make
Il Signore make me an instrument of your peace.
The Department of Education acknowledges the vital role of research to ascertain educational breakthroughs, innovations, classroom interventions, and even policies. With this, the Division Research Agenda continuously provides our teachers and personnel with opportunities and appropriate platform for their actual research, even in times of the pandemic. We'd like to welcome you all to the 2021 Virtual Research Conference, a special episode of the GEMS Talk. To officially welcome our participants, guests, presenters, and the panel of reactors for this conference, ladies and gentlemen, our Chief in the School's Governance Operations Division, Dr. Rolly B. Labis.
Good morning, everyone. to our Schools Division Superintendent, Ma'am Olga Alonsabe, to our Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Ma'am Alice Anghay, the Chief of the Curriculum and Implementation Division, Ma'am Nina Alcasid, to the presenters and the participants for today's research conference, again, good morning. I believe you have already heard the idea that no matter what career that you are in or high up you are, there's always more to learn. The same applies to our personal life. No matter how many experiences you have there and are still doing, there are things that we still do not know. Research unlocks the unknowns. You might have already realized it, but you are already doing something. You are already doing some research on your own. To the presenters and those who will be presenters and researchers in the future, congratulations and congratulations in advance. Thank you and God bless us all.
Thank you very much, Chief Rolly Labis. Indeed, research unlocks the unknown. I am sure that our presenters are thrilled and excited to present their paper in our breakout session. At this point, to give us the rationale of this activity and to give us a glimpse of what took place in the conference, our chairman and the Division Research Committee, with her vigor and spontaneity in research writing, ladies and gentlemen, Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Alice Anghay.
Our Honorable City Mayor, Honorable Edgar Dignes, our Regional Director, Dr. Arturo Bayucot, our Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Olga Alonsabe, the esteemed members of the panel from the University of Science and Technology of Southern Philippines and Capital University, researchers, educators, and friends, good morning. We know for a fact that the modern world today is a product of discovery and research. From a very simple safety pin to the complex space rocket, it was researching that breathed discovery and functionality to these things and structures. Today, we conduct the 2021 Division Research Conference. And just as our research presenters have done everything to conduct the best research study possible, it would really be a pity if no one is aware of what they have discovered. Presenting their study is probably as important, equally important in fact, as conducting it, so that we, all of us, get to be curious, we get to discover and learn how we can, in our own work sphere, plan, adjust, and perhaps apply the findings. With this Division Research Conference, our researchers will have the exciting opportunity to tell a wider audience what they did, how they did it, and the contribution they make to improve teaching and learning, child protection, human resource development, and governance. These are the themes by which all research presentations revolve. To also contribute about the latest advances on up-to-date findings in their field of interest and share their findings with people in other areas or discipline. This Division Conference, Research Conference, is also an excellent way for presenters to get valuable feedback from the panel of esteemed researchers, the USTP and CU professors and dean of colleges. Friends, it is for these reasons that we conduct this 2021 Division Research Conference. We wish everyone an enjoyable learning and productive journey today.
Thank you very much, ASTS Alice Anghay, for that powerful message on functionality, discovery, and meaningful feedback. Indeed, our participants and presenters are all excited for their research journey. They say that the kind of workforce that the institution has reflects the vision of a leader. In El Salvador City, we are truly grateful that we have this leader who has this deep enthusiasm, fervor, and commitment towards research as a tool to improve the quality of education. To give us her message of inspiration to our presenters and participants, ladies and gentlemen, Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Olga C. Alonsabe.
My warm greetings to all the participants of this year's research conference hosted by the Division of El Salvador City. I'm also thankful to all the Board of Judges who took their time to be with us today. There are a lot of reasons why we are here. It has something to do with all the efforts of our researchers, particularly the teachers, the non-teaching personnel, and I'm happy also that we have the participation of some school heads. Research is a very important component for teaching to be improved because there are a lot of changes that we are having. Many times, I always share the idea that to make a good research, we have to employ the RTW. R means read, T means think, and W means write. So when we make research, we have to start with reading. Reading from different works of those who were ahead of us. The fund of knowledge can be taken from them. Books, articles, journals, these are sources of inputs. So researchers are into this reading. The next is about thinking. Whatever we read, we have to focus, we have to process the information. And this is where what Albert Einstein was telling us about research. He said the highest form of research is imagination. So it is in this imagination that our mind becomes free in making and identifying the questions that confronts us, questions that need to be answered. It is also an opportunity for us to imagine what can be the application of this work that we are now having. So after that, reading, thinking, what is important component to communicate to the public is writing. So it is in writing that we need the skills, the technical know-how on how to present and how to write the research. And after that, the writing, there is a need for us to communicate because it is through communication of the research findings that we can give contributions to the field. And so as teachers, it is also our opportunity, school heads, non-teaching personnel, to communicate what we have. After all those sleepless nights and making a very good research, it is the time for us to give justice to our work by sharing it to others so that as we share, we can affect change, especially when you are into action research. So it is here that we can improve the way we teach. So in these pandemic times, no one can hold us in making research. So thus, the Division of El Salvador City really find it an opportunity for you to showcase your research findings. And later on, we will have to publish it in our yearly or annual GEMS journal. And so at this point, I'd like to congratulate all of you. You are all winners in your own field, in your own way. Congratulations to all those who have brave souls in presenting their research. Congratulations again and again, and I'm very happy of your achievement. Good day, everyone. Let's enjoy. This concept of research is fun. Good morning.
The GEM Research Journal, the official research journal of DepEd El Salvador City, was successfully launched last year. Granted with the International Standard Serial Number by the National Library of the Philippines, the journal was circulated and published. with the support and assistance of the local government unit, it was made possible. To give us his continued support to our division research agenda, ladies and gentlemen, our City Mayor, Honorable Edgar S. Lignes.
My warmest greeting to our Regional Director Arturo Bayucot, to our Superintendent Olga Alonsabi, to the Assistant Superintendent Alice Anghay, the entire DepEd El Salvador workforce, research presenters, panel of reactors, and beloved teachers. The local government unit is privileged to be in partnership with DepEd in providing opportunities and meaning activities. To teachers' research journey, we are one with the department's goal to provide quality education for our children. And research activities like this will help the teachers improve their skill towards the teaching and learning process. All the best of our research, presentes, and congratulations to the Division Research Committee to sustain the research culture with its division research agenda. Thank you.
Steve Jobs says, innovation distinguishes a leader from a follower. And in DepEd Region 10, we are truly grateful that we have this leader who has this innovativeness and keen vision towards quality education. To give his message of inspiration to our presenters and future researchers to continue and uphold the culture of research in the department, ladies and gentlemen, our Regional Director, Dr. Arturo P. Bayocot.
Magandang araw po sa ating lahat, lalong-lalo na sa ating mga ka-DepEd, sa sangay ng lungsod El Salvador, at sa iba pa nating mga kaagapay sa pagpapatupad ng dekalidad na edukasyon sa gitna ng pandemya. The new learning landscape, as brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic, has put our stability in the Department of Education into the test. It has continuously challenged the effectiveness of our systems and processes, and it has seemingly cast doubts on our commitment to deliver our mandate. But we are DepEd, tested by the time and experience. At the onset of the pandemic, we courageously responded to the challenge by successfully opening the school year through blended distance learning. And to this day, challenges in the new learning landscape continue to annoy us. But we stand tall and remain determined to continuously deliver quality education no matter what it takes. In fact, we continue to explore possibilities of pursuing classes even in a limited face-to-face modality, in the hope of gradually ushering our classes back to normalcy and eventually addressing more effectively the needs of our learners. It is along this line that I commend the Division of El Salvador City for braving the challenge of the pandemic and staying committed to its mandate by conducting the 2021 Virtual Research Conference. Especially in this time of the new learning landscape, any research undertaking is timely and relevant. We need to unceasingly innovate and discover ways to address both existing and emerging issues and gaps, and your research conference today is one inspiring and empowering event that will help us achieve our purpose. Just like what Neil Armstrong said, research is creating new knowledge. Most definitely. Through the lens of our research works, we not only develop the professional competence of our teachers and future researchers, but also contribute significantly to achieving greater purpose of addressing the needs of our learners. Allow me, therefore, to congratulate the Division of El Salvador City for this worthwhile research activity. To the organizers for initiating this meaningful activity, and to the teacher researchers for their research contributions in various fields. And to those who may not be so inclined to research, we hope to see you in future research undertakings of the division or even the region, because your research contribution, no matter how small it may be, has its own reward. Once again, as we continue to wrestle with the challenges of the new learning landscape, let us continue to arm ourselves with research. Ang ating aktibong partisipasyon sa larangan ng pananaliksik ang siyang magiging gabay at sandata natin sa ating patuloy na pakikibaka sa mga hamon ng makabagong panahon tungo sa ating tagumpay, lalong-lalo na ang tagumpay ng bawat mag-aaral. Marami pong salamat.
Last year, through the Policy Planning Research Division of Region 10, our 2 school-based researches and 2 division-level researches were approved and granted with a Basic Education Research Fund. To share to us the highlights of their findings and the salient points of their research, ladies and gentlemen, our birth grantees for 2020. Please watch this.
Good morning, everyone. This is Anna from the Personnel Unit, and I will present the research Work from Home as an alternative work arrangement for government employees. So, in the first quarter of 2020, COVID-19 pandemic has happened and restrictions were made, and so the Civil Service Commission has allowed the implementation of alternative work arrangements in the government, and one of which is the work from home arrangement. And so we would like to find out in this research how the employees perceive work from home arrangement in terms of advantages, disadvantages, and if there is a significant relationship between the employees' demographic characteristics and perception of work from home arrangement, and if there is a significant difference on employees' perception of work from home arrangement with reference to their demographic characteristics. So these are some of the related literatures according to Shockley and Allen. Individual differences between employees influence the employees' use of available flexible policies in the workplace. For Khan et al., demographic and socioeconomic characteristics influence employees' perceived preferred work arrangement. For Ligas and Lopez, employee characteristics and work characteristics accounted for the use of flexible work arrangements. And then for Duncan and Pettigrew, they suggested flexible approach to be applied upon crafting policies in the workplace. So in this research, we collected data through survey, document analysis, and observations. Data collected from the survey, statistical treatment is done, descriptive statistics, correlation, and ANOVA. And then for document analysis and observation, thematic analysis is applied. For discussion for the results, these are the perceived advantages. For employees, minimize risk of COVID-19 transmission, work-life balance, saves time for preparation and cost in transportation. They feel that they have control over the working day and convenience, flexibility, and comfort at home. For the organization, these are the observed advantages. We have the legal basis, so all is in place for the implementation of work from home arrangement. The COVID-19 transmission is minimized. And then there are available technologies such as and online platforms such as Office 365 and Google Suite. For disadvantages, these are the cited disadvantages by the employees. Less social contact and communication, less focus with distractions from home, overlapping of tasks from work and at home, and so oftentimes they lost track of time and exceed from the time that they are supposed to end their work. Like for example, 8 to 5, they exceed to 6, 7, and then they feel more stressful and tends to have unhealthy lifestyle while working from home. Their access to resources to perform their assigned tasks are limited, such as documents, data, internet connection, and equipment, and they shoulder the cost for internet connection and electricity. So with the limited resources, they have limited tasks that may be performed at home. And then the current tasks performed are not aligned with the prescribed IPCR, especially for teachers due to the new normal way of conducting classes. For the disadvantages for the organization, disadvantages or challenges is the provision and transportation of resources to assist the employees perform their own tasks, the monitoring of employees' attendance and performance, communication and coordination, unavailability of employees who are working from home, delay in the decision-making process, as well as the processing of transactions, especially those which would require the signatures of concerned personnel. As a significant relationship, these are the demographic characteristics with significant relationship with the perceived advantages of work from home arrangements: station, position, number of persons supervised, and average number of people to contact in a day. For disadvantages, we have gender and education. However, it should be noted that based on correlation coefficient, the correlation between these factors and their perception of work from home arrangement is negligible. As a significant difference, there is a significant difference between the perception of advantages between employees in the division office and those stationed in the schools, as well as those with supervisory function compared to those without supervisory function. And lastly, there's also significant difference on the perception of work from home arrangement advantages for those who are in average needs to contact 5 to 10 people in a day compared to those who have to contact 30 or more people in a day. So these are the recommendations of this research. For policymakers, they established a more detailed policy, the implementation of work from home arrangement in the government, with the consideration of the nature of operations of each organization and the type of work proposition classification. For the organization leaders to allocate funds for the provision of necessary tools required for an employee to accomplish the targets deliverable, even while working from home, and to strengthen also the monitoring of employees, not just in terms of attendance and performance, but including their welfare as well. For the researchers to conduct more in-depth study relative to work from home arrangement and possible solutions. So why are we doing this? Because we in the Department of Education strives for quality education with our flagship program, Sulong de Kalidad, and in line also with the Civil Service Commission, we are working to have Prime HRM, to be accredited Prime HRM program to institutionalize meritocracy and excellence in human resource management. And so in the division, we have created Project Heart, which will guide us, serves as our strategic direction in human resource management. But ultimately, our goal is for each employee in our division to exhibit the public service values, PIES, patriotism, integrity, excellence, and spirituality, regardless if they are working on-site or off-site. So these are the things that we have already done in terms of work from home. So these are the initial solutions, identified persisting problems, and what we need to work on for the relative to work from home arrangement. So currently, members of the personnel unit are also working on the research relative to, with connection also to work from home implementation. So these are my references. I'd like to give special thanks to the following for all their help and support, and for inspiring me, for sharing their expertise, and also for all the employees who have participated in this study, especially in the survey. And lastly, to the personnel unit team for being with me in striving to do more and better. That will be all. Thank you.
I am John Franklin Dresser, a master teacher in Mulugan National High School. Allow me to present my research study entitled Students Made Reflective Learning Blog, SMARLIT, the effectiveness of video log reflection in enhancing metacognition among learners in mapping.
Guys, welcome to my first ever vlog.
Teach us in academics, but ang preference of clothes that we wear, wala ko nga mundang ba ko o teacher, positive care ako naman. Pag di ko mo pa-down that, ayan na ulit. Which is the decision making.
Shooting maybe the most.
So, second, we have shooting. So, nag-ilog sila sa bulan. First time. So, this is my first time doing actually. So, good. Reels and smoke insect.
education, I realized that we must know.
For today's video,
On this activity pala guys, I realized that art is all about
Money doesn't matter if you really love it. It is very important to stay in long relationships, to avoid hurting other people, because pain is not good. In this lesson, I learned that relationships is not all about love.
And that's all. That's all. That's all.
And that's all.
Instructive analysis has given significance to the term metacognition for the few decades, considering that metacognition is crucial for integral learning since it empowers people to oversee their cognitive ability and to decide shortcomings that can be rectified by building new intellectual ability. Nearly, an individual who can demonstrate an ability is able of metacognition, that is considered how they demonstrate the ability, according to Sankoban 2015. Recent research suggests that metacognitively mindful learners perform way better than unaware learners, allowing people to plan, organize, and monitor their learning in a way that improves execution. One of the changes that this fast-paced world has offered is technological advancement. Education must adapt to technology, especially that majority of the current learners belong to the Generation Z. Gen Z learners were born with technology, hence consider technology not just a tool but a part of life. According to the Department of Education, innovation performs a considerable part in aiding educators develop, communicate, implement, and evaluate assessment tasks. Using the available technology, students can reflect through video, writing, or drawing. A video-based intellectual learning task could enhance both the breadth and profundity of the learner's reflection and deliver more significant notes after the video reflection, according to Lee and Ping 2018. This study sought to answer the following questions. 1. What is the level of metacognitive awareness of the two groups of participants before and after the intervention? 2. Do the two groups of participants differ significantly in their metacognitive awareness inventory, pre-test and post-test result? 3. Do the two groups of participants differ significantly in their pre-test and post-test result increment? The intervention of the study applies both Dewey's theory on learning through reflection and Scone's concept of reflection in action. It encourages processing of thoughts and ideas through reflection on the lesson delivered by the teacher through the use of modular learning approach. Learners think and process their own learning from the information given by the modules and formulate concrete ideas to derive to a conclusion, as this study wants to highlight the concept from abstract to concrete. The reflected thoughts and ideas of learners would then be transformed into action through documentation by learners in a form of video log.
This study utilized the quasi-experimental design using two samples to determine the effectiveness of the intervention to the participants.
The participants of the study were the 8th grade learners in a public secondary school of the Salvador City Division.
The participants were selected using purposive sampling technique. The selection was based on the following criteria. 1. Must confirm the participation in the study. 2. Submit parental consent. And 3. Have access to smartphone.
The instrument of this study. This action research study used the Metacognitive Awareness Inventory, or MAI, adapted from Scroll and Denison, consists of 52 items. However, the revised MAI of Terlicki and McMahon 2018 that used a 5-point Larpit type rating scale ranging from I never do this to I do this always was applied.
Research ethical considerations were highly observed in the conduct of the study. Results of pre-test and post-test were analyzed using the descriptive and inferential statistics. Participants in SmartLive group increased in their metacognitive awareness based on the pre-test and post-test mean across all criterion items in the knowledge about cognition and regulation of cognition, while non-SMARLIV group remained as is. The responses of the participants who were exposed to SMARLIV had significantly improved based on the overall mean in the pre-test and post-test result, while non-SMARLIV group response on post-test result showed a higher mean than the pre-test, but the increase is not significant. Findings reveal that the increments significantly differ with the group exposed to SMARLIV intervention, showing a higher metacognitive awareness response than those are not exposed to the SMARLIV intervention. Thus, the null hypothesis of this study can be rejected.
Based on the result of the study, the following recommendations are proposed. 1. For the parents, that they will monitor the activity of their children in using technology such as smartphones and other devices. 2. For the teachers, that they will provide activities to learners which enhance metacognition with an integration of technology such as blogging in this new normal education setup. 3. For the researchers, that they will conduct a more in-depth study on metacognition using SMARLIV in another context or another intervention that improves metacognition among learners. The intervention is not just about teaching with the use of technology in this digital era. It is more than that, as it intended to develop and produce self-regulated and independent learners with higher order thinking skills. In addition, SMARLIV is aligned with the flagship program of Department of Education, the Sulong Edukalidad program, through the application of KITE, which improves, innovates the way of teaching, making it more relevant towards the development of the 21st century skills among learners.
This was a collaborative effort and work of Sambulawan National High School teaching force headed by our dynamic school in charge, Mr. Rafi Bibumaat. So the title of our research under Basic Education Research Fund, or the commonly known as BERF, is Differentiated Instruction Using Product Approach in English, Filipino, and Mathematics 7 by the researchers, yours truly, Jovit Common, by Sir Joey Oco and Ma'am Maria Renesa Pairat. Okay. Tomlinson, 2014, defines differentiated instruction, or the DI, as a curriculum framework that focuses on the individual student. Therefore, students achieve because teachers develop lessons based on the students' readiness levels, interests, and learning styles. For school year 2020-2021, it is indeed a very challenging school year because of the onset of the COVID-19. Thus, the Department of Education issued DepEd Order Number 12, Series of 2020, or the National Adoption of the Department of Education Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan in the light of COVID-19 public health emergency, or the most commonly known as the BELCP. Because of the pandemic, the researchers were compelled to look for the tailoring of the needs and learning styles of our learners without sacrificing the health protocol prescribed by the Interagency Task Force for Emerging and Infectious Diseases. As we all know that by differentiation or differentiated instruction can be tailored by its content, process, environment, and product. So we have opted to observe the product approach as the core of this study. Since there were only 3 teachers in the opening of the school year 2020-2021, we have also considered our field of specialization in the conduct of the study, resulting to the learning areas in English, Filipino, and mathematics. And then the study lasted for 1 quarter from October 5, 2020 until December 7 of that same year. Before proceeding to the research question, allow me first to show the schema of the study. Yes, now if you notice, this is an IPO format in an action research, just an input, process, output. So the first box is the pretest, then the second box is the differentiated instruction using product approach, and then the third box is the post-test. Thus, seeing the schema, the following questions were drawn or formulated. Number one, how do the respondents perform before and after the implementation of the intervention? And then number two, is there a significant difference between the pre-test and post-test scores obtained by the respondents? The stronghold of this study focused on Tomlinson's stand in the year 2014 that differentiated instruction maximizes the learning opportunities for all students. This has also been manifested or supported by Robinson et al. That also proves that studies have shown that implementation of differentiated instruction is beneficial to students. And then furthermore, if you notice, Burkett 2013 determined that teachers consider differentiated instruction to be beneficial. Now take note of the word beneficial to students, and they accept ownership of its implementation. So that's basically the literatures that would support the study. This research employed quantitative, experimental, and action research as its research design. Because it's just an IPO, no, an input, process, output, it's actually basically an action research. Purposive sampling was administered in choosing the respondents of this study simply because Sambulawan National High School only offers one section per grade level. And then grade 7 has been chosen because this is the transition period from elementary to junior high school as part of their educational journey. A researcher-made questionnaires were employed, but it underwent validity and reliability testing by our mathematics teacher, Mr. Joey Ioko. We have really asked for help from Sir Joey. And then in answering the research questions, descriptive statistics using the mean and inferential statistics using t-test were used in answering the research questions. At this point, I would like to take this opportunity in thanking the University of Science and Technology of Southern Philippines, or the USTP, for the partnership between their institution, their university, and the Department of Education in the Division of El Salvador City. Special mention to Dr. Dennis M. Roble for the statistical treatment of the data, because I have requested Sir Dennis for the data analysis. So going to the discussion of results, the first problem is how do the respondents perform before and after the implementation of the intervention? If you notice, the table below, or the table presents the data or the resulting data, and it can be inferred that during the pretest, basing on the passing rate of 75% of the total score of a 50-item assessment, none of the subjects was able to observe the passing rate. No? This is true because they have not yet studied the material which was tested. And then interestingly, post-test results yielded to have an increase of scores, and it can be noted that basing again on the 75% of the total score having a 50-item assessment, English and Filipino were able to achieve the passing score, but not for mathematics. The resulting scores in the post-tests are expected to be higher because the learners have already studied the tested material. Okay, so let's go to problem number 2. Is there a significant difference between the pre-test and post-test scores obtained by the respondents? So you can see now the table presenting significant remarks based on the p-value of less than 0.001. Therefore, this implies that the differentiated instruction using product approach is an effective intervention applied in improving the test scores in English, Filipino, and mathematics. So before heading to the recommendation, it can be summed up that differentiated instruction using product approach is indeed an effective intervention applied in improving the test scores in the subjects like Filipino, English, and mathematics. Thus, we have formulated and suggested the following recommendations. Number one, for the teachers. For the teachers, they are encouraged to really tailor the different learning needs and styles of the learners. We already know that the teachers are already doing this, but as to the matter of making it as a habit, it would make a significant impact on the lives of the learners as we give emphasis and as we give value on their individual learning needs and interests. Then the second one is for the school administrators or our school heads, the principals and the school in charge. They are encouraged to strengthen their instructional supervisory functions in observing classes, highlighting the use of differentiated instruction. Our school heads are considered to be the expert teachers. So they are requested to provide worthy technical assistance in crafting lessons and strategies involving differentiated instruction. And then finally, this is for our future researchers. They are encouraged to conduct further verification, further studies, and further innovations to explore other features of differentiated instruction, especially that the conduct of this study was limited only on product approach. So the future researchers can explore more the four differentiation. As part of our advocacy, we have formulated three. This is still part of our planning and implementation. The first one is the continuation of the implementation of the study under continuous improvement category. Since the data gathered were from the first quarter only, we have discussed and agreed among ourselves, including our school in charge, to finish all of the quarters for this school year in grade 7. So we are done with the first quarter. We have floated already our second quarter, and now we are at the point of crafting now the third and the fourth quarters. Then the second advocacy would be the full implementation of differentiated instruction across all levels. That would be for school year 2021-2022. So meaning all of the levels in the junior high school will be implementing differentiated instruction in the conduct of classes. It could be, we are crossing our fingers that face-to-face classes can be implemented already, but if this would not be realized, we can still implement this through product approach. And then finally, our third one is we hope that our third advocacy to encourage other schools, especially our sister school, Bulawan Elementary School, to implement differentiated instruction. Maybe you will be asking, sir, some of the schools or most of the schools and the teachers are already doing this. But as to the written documentation for recording purposes, we are encouraging the schools and the teachers to do the same by documenting this differentiated instruction or the differentiation that they are doing. So that would be the end of my presentation, and I would like to thank you so much for listening. I am hoping that you have learned something out from our very simple research, not just an action research, and we could really empower you to conduct further researches. By the way, again, I am Jovit Common, representing the research team of Sambulawan National High School, saying, Carpe diem, let us seize the day. So thank you so much. Good morning.
Congratulations once again to our Birth 2020 grantees. We have our EPS, Dr. Helen E. Masin, our HRMO, Ma'am Ana May Atilio for the division level researches. We also have Jovit Comoen and John Franklin Dresser for the school-based researches. At this point, I would like to announce that the actual presentation will be done in breakout sessions. There will be 2 clusters. Cluster 1 is composed of the teaching and learning researches. In Cluster 2, we have researches on child protection, human resource development, and governance. We'd also like to welcome our panel of reactors. For Cluster 1, we have our Chief CID, Dr. Ninian Alcacid. We also have Dr. Sara Namoko of the University of Science and Technology of Southern Philippines, and Dr. Edwin Du, the Dean of Graduate Studies of Capital University for Cluster 1. We also have for Cluster 2, our Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Alice Yanghay, Professor Francis Tay Semene of University of Science and Technology of Southern Philippines, and our Education Program Supervisor in Values Education, Dr. Helen E. Maasin. Researchers were pre-screened by our technical assistance providers, which is our EPS and Division of El Salvador, and they were given technical assistance and coaching. For the breakout sessions, the presenters are given 3 minutes for their actual presentation, 3 to 5 minutes to respond to the reactors' queries, discussions, clarifications, and recommendations. Further guidance will be given by the moderator in charge per cluster. All the best to our dear and courageous presenters, to our guests, participants, partners, beloved teachers. Thank you once again for joining us in our plenary session of our 2021 Division Virtual Research Conference, a special episode of the GEMS Talk.